Hello everyone, welcome back to Emma Bobbins. I am Emma and it's time for another floss tube. I think it's been a little while. I have so much to catch you up on. There's so much that's happened in the past 3 months, I think, since I last uploaded. So tea time, definitely, or your beverage of choice, whatever. If you don't like tea, then whatever it may be. Is it a cup of coffee? Is it just a glass of water? Or is it maybe past 5 o'clock and you're having a little alcoholic beverage? Whatever it may be, come join, because it's gonna be a ride. I don't have a lot to show you, right, but I've got a lot to chat about. We'll go through all the stitchy stuff first, and then we'll go and talk about whatever's the hell's happened in the past 3 months, because it's been absolutely wild. Tea first. That's good tea. Starting with new starts, there ain't nothing. Whoops, I've only worked on one. I'm not going to show you Dragon Dance of Black Depths or the Christmas Tree Advent Calendar because I've literally done nothing on it. I think I've unintentionally speed run through a Bella Filipina. Oops. Let me show you Gaia first. I didn't realise how much I had done since the last time I spoke to you. I've finished Gaia, kind of. All the stitching is done. All the back stitching is done. How incredible does she look? Oh my goodness. She's... I can't even explain how much of a joy she is to work on. I'll chat through and I'll maybe give you a little bit of a close-up. I've been watching gameplay of a game called Thank Goodness You're Here, and it's set in Yorkshire. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in a long time. It's great. I don't even have the date that I finished stitching on her, but I do have the date that I ironed her. When did I iron her? The 31st of August. I started this with Andrew, the runner stitcher, and Kat over at Catkin and Lily for Kat's birthday. To be honest, I've been pretty much just only doing Gaia whenever I have any stitching time. That's just how much of a joy she is to work on. At the moment, all the stitches are complete. The back stitching is done, and I'm now onto the beading. The beading is included in my stitch numbers. She's 90.9% complete, and I've got 1,960 beads to go. Let me show you her close up. Look, oh my god, I can't even begin to describe how sparkly and gorgeous she is. I started beading at the bottom, just whatever colour I was coming to, and then I was like, it's a little bit easier if I actually just bead all of one colour so that I'm getting, you know, coverage done kind of not all in the one place. I'm actually spreading it over, so there's not a lot of beading that's taken place in the middle yet, as you'll see, but a lot has been done on these branches over here. The bird's eyes, I've just taken the beads that are in the branches here and just used that colour because I wasn't going to do a French knot. I hate French knots. Put my arms down for a minute and then I can just do a slow pan right the way down so that you can admire her. So I'll put the info panel up as always. This is kind of what I can count as much as I can towards full stitch equivalents because there is quite a lot of quarter stitches and half stitches in this design. So it's roughly about 21,530 stitches. Apparently I've been working on her for about 140 hours and 16 minutes. A lot of time, and it's just a guesstimate, of course, that's coming out of Markup RXP. I'm so freaking proud of her. You can probably tell by the way I speak about her. I'm so freaking proud. She is a dream. I've never had a project so easy to work on. She's just been a complete joy. I was working in the Q-snap. I wasn't too sure about the beads because I don't want to squish them all too much, and this is my first time beading as well, so I'll talk to you about that. So I've just been working with her and just rolling up the fabric as and when I need to for whatever area that I'm working on, and that seems to be working alright. I know I probably shouldn't, but see, just running my hands over it just to feel the beads, it feels so freaking nice. There's a couple of my little back stitches and my X's with one of the cryonic threads that I haven't quite finished off correctly, so there's some loose bits, but to be honest, if I can't go in and just tighten them up, I'm just going to cut them out, because to be honest, you're never going to know. I'll hold her up again. Like, she's just so freaking cute. Gaia is stitched on a 14 count lavender Zweigart. I've talked before about stitching half and quarter stitches before on Gaia. I've found it okay on Ada. We'll talk about the beading. Let me just get myself comfy again. Do you know that way? It's been such a long week and I'm like, thank God it's Friday. You might have noticed as well, I've had my hair cut. Like, I had my hair cut and dyed way back in June. It doesn't even feel like I've had it done anymore. I need to cut my fringe. I had a full fringe, but I've just been kind of like parting it. It was really pink at one point in time too, in all the blondier parts, so I need to go and do that again, put the temporary colour in. I just haven't had time. This would be really nice actually if I had like a top-down camera. We'll get to that. So exciting. So the way that I have been beading Gaia, I was considering using invisible thread. This is gonna sound ridiculous. I couldn't find it. I didn't look all that hard though. To be honest, I just haven't had a chance to go out to any craft shops or anything like that. And when I've been doing online orders, I'll show you a haul in a minute. Also, I've either just forgotten or I can't quite find anything that I'm looking for. I've decided just to use similar colours to the beads, which has been working pretty well, I think. Like, let me zoom you in on one of the areas that you can see a couple of different coloured beads and the threads underneath them. Just in here there's a whole row of beads that are kind of like, to be honest, they kind of change colour. They're like a purpley green colour. I've just been using one of the DMC colours that I've been using in Gaia anyway, and it blends really, really well. Let's just scooch it over. These green beads here and down here, again, just been using a similar colour to the bead. Try to find some different ones so you can see an example of how well the thread kind of blends. These ones in here, purple, just used a purple colour for that. Here too, there's like a minty colour bead right here. Oh my god, Melody was sitting on my lap yesterday when I was beading. I'll put a picture in so you can see. So her hair is thoroughly embedded into everything that I'm doing. Yeah, you can see this blends actually really well. And that was one of my concerns. I was like, oh, if I use a similar colour thread to the bead, are you gonna really see that? You can't unless you're like really looking at it up close. It's fine. I'm happy actually with the way it's turned out. 14 count Ada. These beads are pretty tight sometimes in amongst the, like if you've got lots of beads in a row, they're pretty tight, so I wouldn't recommend going below a 14 count or equivalent in even weave or linen. They get jammed up really tight, so if you've got a smaller count fabric, then I would maybe try and substitute for some of the petite Mill Hill beads. What else about beading? Well, I've learned how to bead using 2 strands of the DMC colour, doing a loop start as like a quarter stitch just to secure it, and then just basically working like normal X's, but before you're finishing, what do you call it, one of the like strands on the X, you obviously thread the bead through the first one, put it down, you come back up, and then you also go back through the bead as you're going back down again. So they're really snug and secure, and it holds the beads straight up. So if you did want them diagonally, you could probably just leave them unsecured, like just with the first one, just through the first step, not the second part. I really like the way that they look and fit together when they're all aligned. Let me know if you'd be interested in a tutorial, because that explanation's probably ridiculous if someone's never beaded before. I'd be more than happy to do a little tutorial if anybody would like one. There's plenty out there on the internet and there's a bazillion different ways to do it. It's just, this was, do you know, that way where I didn't look at the tutorials and I was like, I'm just gonna have a go at it myself and see what I think makes sense. And the first tutorial that I did check after, I was like, yeah, that kind of is the same thing that I'm doing. So one last thing about beading. I actually had a defect bead that I came across like very early on when I had just started beading. I just couldn't pull the thread through, so I think like the size of the hole wasn't the same all the way through. I bought these beading needles. These are the DMC size 10 to 12. I'll show you what mine's look like, right? This is my beading needle now. It is bent as fuck, right? So bent. I think if I was to go and buy beading needles again, I would prefer something a little bit shorter. Kat over in Catkin Lily, I'm so certain she was the same. She preferred a little bit of a shorter needle for beading. That's the only thing I would watch out for. And holy crap, the beading needles are so freaking sharp compared to an actual like embroidery needle. Ow, they hurt. Was beading it through and it like was literally stuck in my finger and I was like, oh, this is disgusting. It's went under my skin. One to be aware of if you're going to start beading on anything. I really enjoy beading. It's so much fun, like seeing it all come together, and it is a lot shinier than the chronic threads, especially in some light. You can just see it like catching and glinting. Yes, 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 yes. Love the beading. I'm going to be power beading Gaia because I really, really, really want to get her framed. See, when I took her out of the frame, once I finished all the crosses, I didn't realise how big she was. Like, I knew she was big, but I couldn't get a sense of scale for her. I didn't mean to do her so quickly. She's actually been such a joy, and I'll cover this in haul, that I bought another Bella Filipina pattern. I've got a feeling by the time we next talk she will be at least fully completed. I don't know if I'll be able to get her framed as well. I'll show you the back because the beading's very interesting because there's a lot of these sparkles like out, not next to anything, so I've just been travelling like nobody's business in those parts, but otherwise she's pretty tidy for my standards anyway. A lot of people probably would have made her a hell of a lot better, but do you know what? I done my best and that's what counts. I might go in through and glue some of like really loose threads if I have any, because there is a couple on here that I would like to just like tidy up. I don't want to go and glue the whole thing, to be honest. She's pretty stiff when you're folding over beads and stuff like that, and because her dress is a really heavily beaded area, I don't think I'm going to be able to fold her in half. Maybe I don't need to glue. The only reason I would glue anyway is just to fully secure some of the threads. I'm not great at doing that when I'm finishing off sometimes. I'm still working on it, I'm still learning. Absolute pleasure and joy to work on. Everything in Gaia is all called for colours, beads, etc. apart from the Chronic 153. I've been using a blending filament instead of the actual number 4, which I wish I had bought the number 4. We live and we learn. And then the pattern, oh god, I've made so many mistakes in it. And then I've made that substitution with the bird's eyes for French knots and beads. Apart from that, the pattern has been followed as best I can. That's Gaia. I'll show you her one more time. I think I've been speaking about Gaia for like nearly 20 minutes at this point. It's great. But that's her. It's so hard to fit her like in shot because she's just massive. I'm so proud of her. Andrew and Kat, oh my god, their progress. Like, I haven't been all that active on Flosstube or Instagram or anything like that, but I'm still here in the background. I'm watching and I'm liking where I can. Their fabric choices, just seeing somebody else's like perception on the pattern is incredible. So go check them out. I'll leave them linked below. It's just been such a joy to work on it with them, and I'd really recommend it. Like, if you've got a pattern and someone's like, I'm going to be starting this, like, go join them because it's fun. We don't even have like a chat or anything like that, but it's just fun seeing their progress at the same time. That's Gaia. And that's all I'm going to be showing you for whips. Oh, I used to keep my projects in the Q snap, right? Not in any bag or anything like that because I don't have the space to keep project bags left, right and centre. There was one day, right? One day I thought, oh look, there's a ladybug on the windowsill, right? And I just left it because I was like, I'm not going to kill a ladybird, you know? Like, they're cute, they're fine. Weeks go past and I'm like, man, this ladybird ain't dying. Like, there's nothing in here for it to eat. What the hell is happening to it? And then I'm like, maybe it ain't a ladybird. So I did a little bit of research and it is what I think is carpet beetles. So I was like, oh shit, when I read about them, because they like to eat fabric. And I was like, do not tell me they are going to be eating my cross stitch fabric and all of my work that I've been doing. I would be devastated if that had happened. So there's not been like loads of them, but they've just been like there for quite a while, and I'm like, I really don't want this to become a problem. So we think they're coming in through the window and then they're just like laying the eggs, and there's maybe like 1 or 2 hatching and then they're just dying. They're not like actually, you know, breeding or anything like that, but I was just like, not a chance in hell are these bugs killing my cross stitch. That's why I've had to baggies. My projects are in baggies. My fabric anyway I have stored in a big A3 folio, which is pretty tight anyway. There's no way for any bugs or anything like that to get into it. And literally everything got moved and cleaned, and like I went to the laundromat to like wash all of our bedding, all the blankets, like literally everything soft was obliterated by cleaning. I don't think we have them anymore. It seems to be like a couple that just come onto the window ledge. We don't really tend to see them anywhere else, and then while we were cleaning we didn't find that many of them. There was like maybe 4 of them that we found like in their, I hate this word, their larva. Ugh. Anyway, they're babies anyway. They look like little tiny fuzzy caterpillars. The actual adult carpet beetles look like little ladybugs. That was a drama, like, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. It was like a Tuesday night and I was like, I need to just rip this place apart and get it sorted now before it becomes a bigger problem. Fun story for you. Just in case though, like, you find carpet beetles, I really don't know where they've come from. We've never had them before, and like they've only literally just started this summer, so I don't know if there's like a plant that our neighbours have planted outside that they really like or what. If anything had happened to my cross stitches, I would have been so gutted. New stash. So where will we start? Will we start with my little beading tin, since we're talking about beading? This is my beading tin, and I was looking for something. Do you remember like the old tobacco tins? Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I managed to find this very decently priced from a place called The Daily Grind on Etsy. They're UK based. They do a lot of gardening products if you're into gardening. You know, these tins can be used for anything. It does say that on the listing, like maybe if you're into like jewellery making or something like that as well. These would be pretty good. All I've done, take my little tin, put my little bead-along mat in there. I literally just like traced a piece of paper in there, cut it out, made sure it fit, and then just did the same on the bead-along mat. I do have a little bead in there actually. And then I've just put one of my needle minders in here with my beading needle, and then also just a normal needle, just in case I need to go back and do any more stitching, even though I've completely finished on Gaia. If there's anything that's just come loose or whatever, then using the normal stitching needle is a lot easier. That's my beading tin. I'll leave everything linked in the description box below if you're interested. It's actually been like a real month or 3 months for needle minders for me. I bought quite a few because what I realized working on Gaia is that I really like having more than one needle minder while I'm working on a project. So I'll have one like up one corner and then one down in a different corner. These all arrived so beautifully packaged, so highly recommend any of these shops if you're interested in going to check them out. First one is from Hoops and Crosses. This is the one with the Stitching Buddy Appreciation Society. Like I said, Melody joined me for my beading session and she always joins me all the time. This was just so gorgeous. They have a matching pattern to this, which was very nice too, but I was very restrained because yeah, I kind of went a little bit wild. Another store that I bought from, Botanical Craft Studio. Absolutely gorgeous little froggies with this little strawberry. I've had my eye on this one for a while, so this was just too adorable. I couldn't leave it at all. And then I think this was the next month, and I was very enabled by Kat at Cat Kid and Lily. She bought this one from Kate Blanford. So it's a little seashell and then just like a little marbly effect circle. And I was like, oh my god, the seashell is so freaking shiny. It is gorgeous. It's like a mirror finish. A no-brainer, to be quite honest with you. I'd heard of Kate Blanford's stuff and I've never really looked at her stuff like in that much depth before, but she's got some really nice needle minders. I bought a couple more. A star and a moon. And again, the moon is like super sparkly. I think she has a couple of different colour variations for all the different needle minders. These are absolutely gorgeous and I love that matte black star too. And then one that just, I couldn't not. It kind of fits with Gaia when I was still stitching on her because it's like kind of like nature, and you know how like Gaia is like the Earth Goddess. How incredible is this one? So it's a little cloud and like little like raindrops, and again this comes in a few different colorways. Go check her out. They're so gorgeous and so unique as well, and I love the opalescence of the cloud. It's just stunning. So yeah, I've been using this cloud one for Gaia. I can't remember when I bought them, but it's been over a month and they're great quality. Like I wasn't too sure if the little raindrops would like fall off the cloud, but they're still going and they don't really get in the way either, which is a nice extra. What else have I got to tell you about? Oh, new patterns. I bought quite a few patterns from Hoops and Crosses. The first one was this one, Mrs. Doubtfire. Touch me again and I'll drown you, you bastard. I love Mrs. Doubtfire. That was one of my favourite movies growing up. And then I saw this one when Lucy released it, and it says it's okay to try again tomorrow, and I love the colours in it and it's just such a lovely message. So I definitely think this is going to be going in my office right above, like in front of my screen, to be like, it doesn't matter, tomorrow's another day. The next one was How About No. I love Austin Powers, and I love the colours in this one. I love like the purpley, reddy yellow colours in it. So cool. And I love the cat. I can't remember the cat's name. I don't know. I love sphinxes, but like I don't know if I would have one, but I do think they're like so cute and like the ugliest way possible. And then we have Sweary Cat. Off you fuck. I would love to hold this up in my Zoom calls and be like, nope. And I think a lot of people would relate to that. I love this whole range that she's done. There's quite a few different ones. There's the frog, the cat. I can't remember. Is there another cat? Oh, there's the octopus as well. They're really, really cool. I love them all, but I only bought 4. It's very restrained. I'm not a big like person that like increases their stash either. So like buying all of this was like such a nice little treat, to be honest. And then I have one other pattern, which is the Evolutions by Glitch Stitch AU. Over on Instagram, I'm sure it's Mel Ray, Stitch by Liz, and I think Miss Chloe are all stitching this, and I was like, man, I really want to get on board with you guys. So I did order the pattern, but I haven't got my supplies for it yet. I'll tell you in a little bit about what my plans are for the future. This is in there. They're so freaking cute. I'm sure there's more than one. I do quite like the Eevee one because of the cat tree kind of concept, but I'm sure there's like a Bulbasaur grass type one and like all sorts, so go check them out. And then you might remember a little while ago that I bought a Chatelaine pattern. It was the Hawaii Garden mandala, and I am obsessed. I want to start it, but it's gonna cost an absolute fortune to kit up. And I was thinking about it. I was like, do I really want to keep it exactly the way it is intended to be, or am I happy substituting? And I'm like, I don't tend to like have loads of different projects on the go. Gaia, I have absolutely adored working on her. Not that she's going to be expensive as this Chatelaine's going to be to kit up, but I really appreciate like how all the details all come in together, and I don't know if I would get that same effect with the Chatelaine. Not to say if that's your choice, like, you know, by all means go for it, but I think I would like to try and keep as close as I can to the original design. The Chatelaine uses Gloriana threads, and I'm not too sure on the entire situation. I'm not super well versed on it, but from what I understand, Gloriana has a really long lead time on their threads, so I was like, I may as well just like start picking the stuff up so that I'm not spending a whole bunch of money just in the one go to kit up the Chatelaine. Like I can just pick through and then eventually I'll have everything ready to go. So I bought, and this was from West End Embroidery. I was looking everywhere for where stocks Gloriana threads. There's not a lot of places. A lot of places have some colours and not others, and I was like, ugh, I just want to try and find like a place that has most of them, and then I can continue the hunt for the other colours when I need to. I brought some from West End Embroidery. I'll show you them all one by one, but like look at these colours. Oh my goodness, they're so nice. I'm really actually enjoying working on hand-dyed threads. Like the I have a whole Karen water lilies still from Gaia. I didn't even touch it, and I've got so much left, and supposedly I was supposed to use 2 whole things and I didn't. It is what it is. This one is called Forest by Gloriana. It's beautiful forest green colour. Then we've got slate blue, very, very pretty. I don't think this one has any variegation either. This is Velvet Night Sky. It's gorgeous royal blue. And then I think this one's my favourite. It's called Hydrangea. It is stunning. So yeah, I ordered those Glorianas from West End Embroidery. It came so quick. I think there's only one maybe Gloriana colour that I'm missing, and then I'm covered for my Chatelaine. Chatelaine? I can't remember what I've been saying in this video. I'm actually really liking picking up a little bit of stash because I haven't for so long. What's my plans for the future? This might sound really, really stupid, right? But I have so many, I say so many patterns. I don't have that many. How many do I have? I have maybe 11 or 12 patterns in my backlog that I haven't stitched on, as well as my whips. This will start to make sense once I tell you in the life update. I'm probably not going to have a hell of a lot of time for stitching. Why don't I just try and clear my pattern stash, get everything that I need to do me for my pattern stash as it is just now for the foreseeable future. I think that's going to work pretty well because I have plenty of fabric to actually use for all of these patterns. I've got not a great stash of DMC colours, but I've got a few, and then I've got plenty of needle minders, Q snaps, everything to keep me going really. That's my plan. I'm gonna just work through what's in my pattern stash, and then, you know, if I need to top up and buy anything extra, then that's fine, like for the Chatelaine, because it is just such a massive expense, because there's loads of Swarovski beads that I need to order from the States. There's lots of specialty threads that I haven't come across here in the UK, so I might need to just place a big order at 123stitch.com, but within, like, you know, the regulations that I don't need to pay import duty on it. In order to support that plan, I've placed a huge order at Lakeside Needlecrafts for all the DMC colours that I need to do those 11 patterns-ish and the Chatelaines. I think it's a good plan. I don't know how it's gonna work out. Like I said, I've got plenty of fabric in my stash. I've already like assigned a fabric to each pattern, so I know exactly what I'm pulling and where I'm pulling it from. Although, in my love for doing Gaia and the Bella Filipinas, they released a beautiful design that I just couldn't resist. I wanted to try stitching on an even weave or linen fabric before I go into the Chatelaine, because there's so many specialty stitches in it that I think that would be really helpful to know that I'm working with a fabric that I'm comfortable working on and I've worked on before, rather than going into working on an even weave or whatever it may be and then being like, oh no, I don't like this, or I can't do this, or whatever. All that to say, Bella Filipina released a beautiful design. So she's called Belinda Botanica. I'll put her here. I could not resist. I was like, this is my chance. There's bound to be fractional stitches in there, so I pre-ordered the pattern along with all the DMC colours that I need to finish off my stash of patterns, plus a gorgeous fabric flare piece of fabric. I believe it's an even weave, and I think it's a 28 count. Belinda Botanica, the only thing I didn't order was one of the Chronic colours was out of stock, and the beads, I was like, I'm gonna leave that just now because I already spent quite a lot of money, so I'll get them at some point. I might just do like a haul video in between when that arrives. The pattern was for pre-order for release in middle of September. I should maybe get that order like, I don't know, maybe the end of September or something like that. So I think I'm probably going to start on Belinda Botanica and maybe something else, or I might just continue working on Dragon Dance of Lake Depths or something. It's exciting times. I've been chatting for so freaking long. I need to wrap this up as much as I can. So what happened? What happened to the channel in these 3 months of absolute drought of content? Last time I filmed a Flosstube, I told you that I was going off on holiday at the end of June. I was going away to play the Elden Ring DLC and then just like basically have a really chill time and then come back nice and refreshed, maybe in a month or so. That didn't happen. I went off on holiday. I then found the world of Vinted, right? So I was selling so much stuff that I had in a drawer, all set to go. I was going to put it up on eBay. Then one of my work colleagues was like, why don't you just put it up on Vinted? You'll probably get a lot more interest, and like the fees and stuff like that are a lot cheaper on Vinted. So I was like, okay. So I spent literally my whole week off selling Vinted orders and going to post them and all that jazz. I got a lot of steps in because I was just walking to the in-post lockers and then going for a walk and then coming home, and then I'd be like, oh no, something else is sold. So I'd be like, I need to do it again the next day. That was my holiday, which was fine. It was just like a whirlwind because it just went so bloody quickly. I went back to work on the Monday, and then from the Wednesday I was so ill. I think I had COVID, but we didn't have any tests that were not expired to test. I had a fever that didn't break. I think my fever broke maybe on the Thursday night or on the Friday, so that was horrendous. I've never had a fever so bad. I was just, oh no, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. So then it was off again, and during that time I think I had been stitching so much on Gaia that I gave myself either carpal tunnel or tennis elbow, or a combination of both of them. Thankfully that's not as bad now. I still get little bits here and there where it's a little bit sore, but nothing to what it was back then. Like, that was so painful. I went back to work and I was thrown into crazy periods of absence from literally the start of July until now. Most weeks I have been covering at least one person. Literally, like, my brain is like, I'm shutting down as soon as my day is done and I'm going to do stitching. I think that's kind of why Gaia had so much work, because I was absolutely exhausted, but at the same time I was like, I need something to just like put my mind like completely at ease. Stitching was that outlet, and it it was really nice to have something to fall back on. That was kind of the reason that I started, one of the reasons that I started stitching in the first place. It still works, thank God. Been crazy, and I don't see that changing. I don't know what I'm gonna do about these floss tubes and stuff like that. Like, if I'm only working on a project at a time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna have any headspace at all. I've got very exciting news, but I'm not telling you yet what it is. And amongst all of that, I've told you guys before that I run another channel called Trauma with my husband, so it's kind of like a more travel lifestyle channel. I finally finished transcribing the big bus tour in Paris video, and I haven't looked at it again since I finished. It's been a huge task, and I'm not quite ready to go and face that again. That's been like literally all the video editing that I've done. In terms of like media and TV shows and games and books and all that kind of stuff, we're still going through The Walking Dead. We're at season 9 or 10, I can't remember. Anyway, it's very close to where we dropped off last time. We were so freaking close, so close, and we didn't finish it. I think it was the weekly releases of the episodes really didn't work for us. It just felt really slow and dragged out, whereas now when we're watching it back to back to back to back, I just feel like the story is flowing a lot quicker than it did when we first watched it, so that's good. We went to see Longlegs at the movies, which has got Nick Cage in it, and I didn't know what to expect going into it, and I still don't know what the hell happened. I enjoyed it. It was really, really different. I don't think Troy was as sold on it. Elden Ring DLC, like I mentioned, I ate that up. I'm at the last boss. So if you know who the last boss is, I'm struggling. Really struggling. Maybe done the fight about 5 times and I'm like, I've just completely tapped out. I'm like, I don't even care anymore. Finished it to an extent. I've just no doubt. The DLC was good, but I don't think it was as special as the main game. The base game is something really, really, really special, whereas the DLC, was it like 2 years or something like that they had to make it? It just didn't feel as magical as that base game did. Still would recommend if you're into that kind of thing, but yeah. And then I have recently started playing Dead Space, and what I realise is I am so much bigger of a wuss for horror games than I thought I was. Like, I can literally only play it for half an hour, then I'm like, nope, I'm done. It's been really good, but I'm kind of finding it a little bit predictable, like in terms of like plot thing happens and then monsters come at you, and like constantly expecting enemies that like they're not a surprise when they show up at the moment. So I think I'm on chapter 6 or 7. So yeah, it's been alright. Like, I understand it's like a bit of an older game. It's okay. I like the story of it more than anything. To be honest, I might just drop it down to easy mode and then just play it for the story. I've never done that before in a game actually, but I don't see why you wouldn't do that if the combat and stuff like that really isn't working for you. I only have 5 minutes and 25 seconds left on this memory card, so now I need to tell you the really exciting news. The biggest reason why I have been so quiet over the past few months. We bought a house. We're in the process. We haven't hit exchange yet. There's still a lot that needs to happen. Basically, as soon as our July pays hit, we're like, right, we have enough to go and start looking. We were so lucky that the first house that we went and viewed and really liked, and it went to a closing date. We put our offer in and our offer was accepted. We're first time buyers. We don't have a chain. The seller doesn't have a chain either, so it's like been the most simplest process for buying a house. But because it's been so quick, there's been so much we've had to do in a really short space of time, so there's been like literally no time for anything else. Talking with estate agents and solicitors and mortgage advisors, and it's starting to feel really real. Obviously, as I said, we haven't quite hit exchange and we haven't completed on the missives or anything like that. I knew it was either going to go one or two ways. We were going to be really quick, or it was going to be a really long process. I'm kind of glad it's like just happening so quickly, because that just takes a lot of the stress away from looking and all that kind of stuff. We've penciled in for the 11th of October completion, so that's when you get the actual keys to the house, which is like 4 weeks away, which is crazy because we literally have nothing. We have very few kitchen appliances. Like the air fryer we bought is ours, but like we don't have like plates and cutlery and pots and pans, bedroom furniture. Like, we have IKEA wardrobes, so God knows if they're actually going to survive moving. So might not have wardrobes, we've got like literally this desk and a couple of drawers, and I don't know if our bed frame is gonna survive a move either. I'm so happy. Every morning I have been waking up just bursting with excitement. This might be the last time you see me in this place. I don't know what's going to happen with the channel. It's a project house, so we've got a lot of work to do in the place. So I would love to have Gaia ready to go so that she can be hung up in our house, but I need to finish her. So that's what's been happening. Yeah, let me know if anything interesting's happening in your life or what you're stitching on, because I'd really love to know. I don't know what else to say, and I've only got a minute and a half to say it. I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you whenever the next one is, and I'll maybe see you over on Instagram in the meantime. Something like that. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye. Wow, it's been a while. It's been a little while. I must have notes every time. Every time, because otherwise I will forget something. The horizon's not straight on the camera, but we're just gonna have to roll with it. You gotta roll with it. You gotta take your time. Why do I feel nervous? This is stupid. I shouldn't feel nervous. I've done this a bazillion times before. You don't need to see my face up that close. It's just... well, no. This seashell is so shiny. Let me zoom you back out. Oh, no, that way.